as the old church pastor would say, I am not going to be before you long. But as we all know, many times that is a lie. I just really want to take a moment to share my heart about the election. Anybody who follows me or most people who are in my life know that I haven't said very much at all regarding the election for months. I've heard, men, women of God speaking on it. And I haven't said anything about it. And if I did say anything, it was that I wasn't going to vote. And the reason why I was saying that is because I really didn't feel like I had a candidate to vote for. I knew I would never vote for Kamala with her stance on abortion and sexual immorality and things of that nature. And I also had no intentions of all for voting for Trump because I personally just did not like him. So my stance was that I'm just going to pray. I know that is where my power lies. So I was just going to pray, that God would put the right person in office, and then whoever is elected, pray for them as well, because, we're supposed to pray for those who have rule over us. So that was my stance. So today, when I was at work, this is election day, and when I was at work, very close to when it was time for me to leave, I get off at 5, so around 4:20 or so, I'm just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I get this flash, and it was just like a flash of the future, and what I saw was like what the future would be like if Kamala was in office. And it was very quick. I mean, very quick, like a lightning flash. It was like a millisecond. And I can't even tell you exactly what I saw. I knew it was abortion stuff and I knew it was sexual perversion, but it came so quick. Like I said, it was like lightning. And even though I can't tell you exactly what I saw, I know what I felt. It's like as soon as I saw it, my heart began to feel overwhelmingly sorrow, like overwhelmingly heaviness. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what was that? Um, so much to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, no, I really have to pray. Like we always say we gotta pray, but it's the difference when you say it and you know what people stand for. But I actually saw it, and not only did I see it, I felt it, and I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, I really really have to pray for our future, and pray for this election. So a little bit shortly after that, I get in the car to leave to go home, and then all of a sudden, I don't know why I get this thought about voting. Keep in mind, this whole time for months, I've had no intention and no thought on voting at all. And I'm kind of like, Lord, within myself, like, Lord, I still can't vote. I don't have anybody to vote for. Not only that, but at this point, my vote's not going to matter. I'm going to have more power, praying. But then I, was just getting this feeling and this thought like, why? Why are you not voting? And I was thinking about, again, back to my original thing. Like, I know Kamala, I know I don't like her, but I'm like, I don't like Trump at all either. I think he's racist, and I just don't like him. Um, and then I felt in my heart when I had the thought about voting again, I felt something that was almost like, I hate him, but it didn't come out. But I felt it. It was like almost like the beginning of saying hate, but it was within my heart, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I immediately just kind of like repented, and I saw myself. I was like, what? Like, what was that thought? What did I just? I was like, no. I mean, I don't hate people. I'm a Christian. I love people. I pray for my enemies. But I felt that, and I was like, my gosh, I'm sorry. I was like, Lord, I repented for that, and I was like, hate for a Christian can never be a motivation, um, because we're not a people of hate. We're of love. So I cannot vote for him, but it can't be over hate. But once God, kind of showed me that, I was like, oh, okay. I felt like I kind of repented and got that right. And I felt another kind of overwhelming sense like, you need to vote. And I'm thinking, like, Lord, why? Because this vote at this point, it's not going to make a difference. And He began to deal with me on standing up as a Christian. Like, no, you need to make a choice, because sometimes it's easy to say, oh, I'm just gonna pray, because if you do that, then you don't have to stand for anything. And I didn't feel like I was being that way, but that's what I guess God was showing me about myself. Like, no, you need to stand for something. You need to do that. And I'm like, gosh, but this this is hard for me. So I literally went and I'm driving up and I was like, I'll just go to where my voting office is. But if it's lines, because I know people have been complaining and talking about the lines and everything all day, I was like, so if I have to deal with that, I'm just not gonna go, because I'm still like, I'm warring within myself. I mean, I am truly, truly warring. So I go, I get there, barely any cars there, walk straight in, was able to go and vote. And literally, as I get out the car and I'm going, as I get out the car and I'm going up to vote, I'm literally like, tears are almost coming out of my eyes, because this, when I tell you, this was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do, because I had to go against not everything that I felt in my heart, but everything that I felt in my emotions, because I always just felt like I don't, so many reasons why, but I just don't like Trump. But I also knew what God was impressing upon my heart. So I went and I voted. And the only reason why I am even saying this, because a lot of people are like, don't talk about politics, don't do that. Well, if you know me, you know me. If you like me, you like me. If you love me, you love me. But I don't want you to have a false version of me. I don't want you to have, if you really, to know me or to love me, you have to know the real me. And as a Christian, you're going to always get the real me. I want to always be real. And so I have to be able to say that as a Christian, since I've been saved, I've always stood on the side of the Lord to the best of my abilities. I'm not perfect, but I'm never gonna be for unrighteousness. I'm never gonna be for abortion. I'm never gonna be for perversions. I'm never gonna be, for these things, just for unrighteousness in general. I'm always gonna be on the side of the Lord. So that's the only reason why I'm saying it, because I feel like I have to. I feel like if you don't say, even if you don't say anything, then you're saying something. Taking no side is taking a side. And believe me, I'm on the side of the Lord. I can't even lie and say, oh, I'm this Trump supporter. It wasn't that. I'm just doing what I felt like was right, and how God was dealing with me in that moment. I'm definitely not calling him righteous. I'm definitely not doing anything. I'm just walking you guys through the process of what I went through, and I'm just sharing it because I wanted to, because I want to make a stand, and I want to be real, and I just wanted to share it because to me, I really believe it was something that God led me to do, because this was nowhere on my mind. You can ask anybody around me. I haven't said anything about an election. I was just so sure, just wasn't even gonna talk about it. Like, I'm just gonna pray. I'm just gonna pray. That was my stance. But like I said, God had me to make a choice, and I know that life is about that. Even this year for me has been nothing about making hard choices. I had to change churches from my home church that I had been at for over 20 years, from a pastor I love, from people that I love. But God was dealing with me, to do some things with that, and I had to make a hard choice. But then once I did that, I began to see, other things that God was doing. So now I'm that person that I'd rather be right with God than right with man. And when God deals with me directly, and sometimes I need that. Like, I know what people say. Sometimes I I hear, leaders, men and women of God. I hear this, but it's very important for me to be settled within my spirit. And when God settles something within me, then that's when I have to make a move, and that's what I did today. So, yeah, again, I was just sharing that. At the end of the day, I really think that we still have to pray, no matter how this election comes out, no matter who is in office. I will pray, and I will pray the will of God always. Um, that's it. I love you all. Be blessed. We will see. But no matter what happens, our trust, our hope, our faith is in God. He is unmovable. He is unshakable. And even though things may surprise us, it is never surprising to Him. So be blessed. I voted today.